Well, hello there, friends, and welcome to Virtual Strangers 116. I'm your host, Wes. With me, as always, my good friend Roots. Roots, how you doing today, brother?
I am doing good. I'm actually back in the void. I had a cool background for a minute until I realized it was just too much for my amazing 8700K Coffee Lake. It's an amazing processor, amazing integrated graphics, but it is not meant to stream and run a whole bunch of other shit behind it. But show must go on, and I don't mind being in the void. It's kind of nice. I feel like it's kind of liberating, loose.
Well, well, they say, Roots, the only people who truly lose are those who didn't try.
Well, that's true. That's true. Well, I was telling you, the only sad part is I lost an hour and a half of preparation, putting backgrounds behind each scene. But the good news is I did ship out my video card this morning. It will supposedly be there by Thursday. I'm going to put out there that it'll be there Tuesday, bro. I'm hoping by the end of next week I'll have my card back, and if not, then it'll be the following week. It's funny. I insured it for $1,200. And the guy said, "Oh, well, if we have to open it up and repackage it, and then started asking me how I had it packaged in there. I said I shipped it in the original box with the foam, it wedged in there. I mean, I didn't give a fuck about the box. I just want my thing to get there safely. I don't want to worry about it. You know what I mean? Some people are worried about shipping the box. I don't care. Box means nothing to me at this point. And I think it'll come back. But actually, I'm getting
You,
the
you know,
3080, so I won't want it back.
right. I think it's amazing that we're sitting here producing this live content like this. Uh, I mean, we don't have the biggest production values in the world, but there's stuff going on there. So the fact that your CPU's handling this all on its own is actually quite remarkable.
Yeah, it's crazy. But it's all good. And sometimes it's good to scale back and it make me appreciate my video card that much more when I do get it back. And we're able to keep going. And that's all that matters.
And this just goes to show the difference. When people are building computers, that they always put so much thought into what their CPU is going to be, what their graphics card is going to be, what their RAM is going to be. A lot of the time, what people do to cut costs and save a little money is cheap out on the motherboard. And I don't know what kind of motherboard you have, but I do know that you didn't cheap out on it, right? You've got a pretty good motherboard.
Yeah, no, I don't cheap out on it. Although I do look at the really high end ones now, but no, when I got it,
Oh,
it was a high end mid ranged one. There's
right,
certain
right.
things you
Yeah,
don't cheap
none
out
of us
on.
are. Yeah, none of us are going out and getting the $500 MSI godlike gaming motherboard. Those things are a little bit excessive, but people who are $75, $85 on a motherboard often pay for it in situations like this, where we're kind of leaning a little more heavily on it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's amazing. Technology is amazing, and glad I didn't skimp out on the processor back in the day. And it does make me feel like upgrading my processor because how much better could I be running things if I had your processor? I'm sure the integrated graphics is a little bit better. Everything's a little bit better, and if I was running a
Actually,
6700K, I wouldn't be having the same conversation. I couldn't do what we're doing. I don't think so.
yeah, the tech in mine and chip and your chip is actually very similar. They clock the same. The cores are the same speed. The only difference is that mine has 8, yours has 6. But I mean, it's only in certain scenarios where you're going to be able to tell any kind of difference anyway. Like a lot of games, even today, are optimized for 4 cores. So, like, having a 6-core 12-thread processor generally is still pretty good for 90 to 95% of what you're gonna be doing anyway.
That's true. That's true. Then maybe I want Overjeez's processor. I think he's got. I don't know. Somebody at some of them. There's such good stuff out there. But I'm not going to complain with what I have. So
Anyway, yeah, we look forward to Roots getting his graphics card back and, not only returning to having his gnarly backgrounds, but, returning to PCVR as well. Not very long away, another week or so, and, you'll be hopefully pretty close to wrapping up Returnal by then.
I don't know. I say that's what I beat the first boss. Actually, I got really far into a good run last night. Had an amazing gun and was actually making my way through the second area. And then there's some new creatures, Wes. I thought those one things were bad. There's some things that are
Right.
just difficult to kill, and they're chasing me, and it was crazy, Wes. But it was a good run and a good stream. Had a good time.
Yeah, that first time you make it to the second level, right? You're on such a high when you get to it, having come off beating the World One boss, only to meet new enemies that destroy you immediately, right?
Yeah, what was cool is going all the way up to level 5 weapon proficiency immediately, right? Thought, wow, that's cool. So I thought naively, I thought, well, I'm gonna grind my way through this first area, and then when I get there, and I mostly thought this was gonna not gonna be the case, but I was hoping I would get that jump on top of my gun level, but it didn't even go. I had level 4 proficiency. It didn't even go up to 5 when I got it. Like I would have been better off just going and grabbing it right away and not wasting my time. Although, you're leveling other stuff, you're finding parasites, you're doing a lot of other things. But as far as leveling your guns, it did absolutely no good. It was wasted time.
Now, they have one of those at the beginning of every level, and what it basically does is get you at a certain baseline. So if you decide not to grind and you want to just jump straight into the level, you're not starting at zero again. It'll kick
Mm.
you up to whatever the average run would be at that point.
I had such a good gun too when I died this last run, man. It was like that's what you get so excited. You're like the just the randomness. You get this because I'm always open for a machine gun and I'm always swearing and screaming at the thing when it gives me the shitty ass shotgun. I don't know how you feel about the shotgun, but I don't want to be that close to anything. And if I do, I'm going to be slicing it with my
Yeah.
melee. So the shotgun
What you
is
have, um,
worthless.
well, what you have to do with the shotgun. I was the same way. I didn't want the shotgun. I'd rather fight with ranged weapons in this game. I don't
I'd
want to
rather
get
use a
too
pistol.
close. If I'm going to get that close, I'm going to melee because the melee is pretty powerful. But with that said, if you put a little time into um, developing the shotgun, unlocking traits for it,
Oh,
there's a trait called slug shot, which turns it into a weapon that has a bit more range to it.
hmm.
It isn't something that spreads anymore. It also spreads, but it also has a long distance slug that it fires as well.
I gotcha. Yeah, no, I unlocked something for the machine gun that made it powered it up. Like it went to another tier of weapons. That's why I really started destroying things even in that second level. And I was like, oh, this feels good. And then I died. It's a story of Returnal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm hearing you talk about it for the last 2 weeks has made me get the itch back to jump back into it. I've been waiting though because I said when I went back into it I would stream, and I know Eric's been out of town and he wants to watch it, so I've been waiting on
Mm.
Eric to get home. So we'll probably do the Returnal stream in a day or two.
Yeah, maybe we could do a Returnal stream money show where we're dual side by side screens. I'm talking about all sorts of extra work. But that sounds cool. I'm enjoying the game. I was explaining the game last night to Wolveraza. Dropped by my stream at the last night for the first time. Appreciate you coming by. And nah, it was really good, man. It was a really good time. And I know that your wife is probably getting the itch to watch you play because she came and watched me play, and I got to thinking she's probably sat there and watched you play for half of the time that you've been playing. So she's, you know what I mean? She's watched a lot of it. Probably really appreciative of the game. So
Oh yeah, she's definitely an educated viewer when it comes to Returnal.
it's such a good game, and it just it's funny. I saw an article where when it first came out, people were discussing whether uh, the developers were AAA or indie, and how I don't know how anybody would consider them indie. If they are indie, they're the most AAA indie I've ever seen. That game is phenomenal on every level. So
Well, if they were indie, they're not anymore because Sony picked them up shortly after that game launched. So they're a Sony first party studio now.
yeah, well, that's exactly the reason why having a PlayStation 5 is a good idea, because you can't play it on any other system. Doesn't exist. So
Makes you excited for the next iteration of PlayStation VR, doesn't it?
it does. It does.
Anyway, that will wrap up our weekly flat game report. If you want to know more, just be sure to click all the links in the description because there's going to be more. This game's awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, with that said, what say we talk a little VR roots? We have a lot to talk about this week. I think the headlines segment's going to dominate the show this week. There's so much to talk about in there. But before we get to any of that, let's kick it off the way we always do by saying hello to our friends in chat. And Alex VR dropping by says, "Hey dudes, hope everyone has had a great weekend. Probably not as good as yours, man. One of the things we're going to be talking about today is the Larcenauts update, and one of the things they added roots in the Larcenauts update is B haptics tack suit
Ooh.
support. So everyone who has shelled out the money for one of those has one more awesome game to add to their library."
I'd love to add that to my library. The V haptics suit. It's a lot of money.
Onakazi is in the chat, as is Mash Daddy, coming to us live from the jet on his way home, just like he was last week on the way there. So what's up, Eric? Thanks for tuning in. Onakazi, Mepper, Wolveraza, Technoglitch. Drew's in the chat. What's up, Drew? Technoglitch, Meow Meow the Gamer Cat. What's up? PD, hey, what's up, PD? PD's in the chat. Space Denison, what's up, Void Cat? A cast of tens roots, ready to hear what happened this week in VR. Eye on the icon. Hey, how's it going? Lots to talk about though, roots. Lots to talk about. Facebook doing what they often do, taking the headlines this week, right?
Yeah, dude, I couldn't believe it when I started going through the headlines. They were mostly Oculus, so, or Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, they're greedy little headline hogs they are. So we should get to it. Headline: Oculus Rift exclusive Lone Echo 2 finally lands in August. Roots, we've talked about this one till we can't talk about it anymore. We all know what this is. We all know whether we want it or whether we don't want it. We all already know whether or not we're going to get it. What I want to talk about is the strange way in which they announced this. I mean, how anticlimactic could you get? It was just like a blog post drop. It didn't even have like a launch trailer, your typical launch trailer with the with the release date in it. It's just like, oh yeah, by the way, uh, Lone Echo 2 is going to be out in a month.
Does it make you worried at all? Like, maybe if they're not, I mean, that maybe it's just not, they just haven't, they've kind of half-assed it. It's not been a big priority for them.
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm sure it's going to be what we all already know it's going to be. Um, I found the timing of it strange, Roots, because not only was it a non-traditional reveal for this game from Facebook, it was on the very same day that the Fracked demo surprise dropped on the PlayStation VR store. So it's like, uh, what do you think? Maybe a little headline stealing activity here?
Maybe, but if they did, they should have done a little bit better job of the headline. If you want to steal it, make it a big event, all right?
Yeah, you would think so. And this game's been delayed a few times, and I kind of think that's what was at play here because we can't really say they haven't supported it because I remember back in the day, I mean, isn't this still the only 3D VR trailer that we've ever seen was the one for Lone Echo 2?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Wolveraza says he so wants to grab Lone Echo 1 for $10 price. Might break, hard to pass up. I would say don't pass it up because it hasn't been on sale really before much at all. I mean, and obviously they're going to a different phase and it may be on sale again, but man, that is that's such a good deal for this game. $10.
Uh, I think I can remember two other occasions that Lone Echo has ever been on sale. So it's a good idea to get it. I've never seen it for $10. It always goes on sale for $20,
Yeah.
and people jump all over it. So yeah, I think it's kind of if you can afford it at all. I mean, $10 for this is kind of crazy.
Yep. Absolutely.
Onakazi in the chat says, "Do it." All right, on to the next Facebook headline. Facebook deprecates proprietary Oculus APIs for open XR focus. Roots, this is huge. What this basically is Oculus moving from their own proprietary API on both PC and standalone platforms across the board, moving to OpenXR as the uh, default API that they use, or SDK rather. Um, the, they're making a change, and basically, why this is such a big thing is it's going to keep the Oculus Rift store alive because it's basically making PC VR the platform now instead of Rift versus Steam. It's all going to be built on the same framework now. It's going to be much easier for developers to develop for all platforms at once on PC. Effectively, like I just said, making PC itself the platform.
Well, that's good. So, are you gonna be able to use play games on other headsets from Oculus games? Is that gonna change, or is it still gonna be? Uh,
It's quite possible. I mean, that would completely be up to Oculus, but yeah, yeah. Now, it's not retroactive, of course. All the existing titles in the library are most likely going to remain on the Oculus SDK. This is for new titles going forward, all new titles going forward, and it's not just a switch. Like Steam VR recently, within the last year, switched over to OpenXR. It's not just a switch by Oculus, but it's full support. They're going to offer developers the same support that they would have up until this point with their own stuff. So they're going to basically become OpenXR experts themselves so that they can help developers. Yeah, again, it's not just switching over, it's full support, uh, like we've always seen from Oculus from day one.
well, that's cool. That's good.
Yeah. And again, it's a big deal for PCVR, especially the Oculus Rift store, but it's not limited to that. It's also going to be implemented on Oculus Quest as well. So again, it's basically standardizing VR across everything except for PSVR. PSVR is going to be on its own island, but it always has been, hasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what's funny is Honekazi says, of course, there are people complaining about this. No matter what Facebook does, someone will complain. This is a good thing. And I agree. It doesn't matter what people, I mean, and it is a knee jerk thing. It's like there's such a Facebook has crushed and destroyed their brand. Like they've destroyed it. You know what I mean? Like Oculus, it was a good thing when they separated from Facebook. You know what I mean? Because it was only a year and a half ago, there wasn't a connection. Most people didn't even know there was a connection. Why they brought it all together so you knew they should have just pretended like it was never a thing, you know? I don't know. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Headline: Facebook is unlocking AR capabilities for developers on Quest 2. Ever since the Oculus Quest 1 was launched, Roots, we've often speculated what if they were to unlock those cameras and let devs build games on that feed. Um, Never really any real indication from them that they would actually ever do that. But with Oculus software version 31, they're rolling it out in a early version of it for developers to play with. But it's cool. It just shows you what's going to be next from Oculus and their labs.
It shows you that it's on their radar. It makes you wonder what devs can do with it. Like right now, right? I mean, obviously, right now, I would imagine everything would be gimmicky, just like this is with your hand tracking. But down the road, it'd be cool to be able to be able to flip a switch and have two different types of things. And now you wouldn't just be, PC VR and standalone VR, and then you could flip another switch, and now you have AR. Uh, you have everything, right?
Well, it's smart on the part of Oculus because basically they understand that they're 4 to 5 years away from debuting their AR product
Mm,
onto the market. So it's a smart thing to go ahead and get their developer ecosystem uh, learning, learning now how to write this kind of software so that when they actually have a truly capable device, uh, we're not going to have to spend 2 years cutting teeth on it the way we were with VR, right? We've seen steady improvement from the early days of VR all the way through today, but it's exponential, right? When you look at any studio, one title to the next title to the next title, the improvements have always been huge, and it's smart for Facebook to kind of get out ahead of that with regards to AR. So it's going to lead to some really cool, interesting stuff for us. But the real impact of this move will be felt years from now.
yeah, yeah, and it'll be a slow wait, but we'll get there. So
Absolutely. Well, I'm more of a VR guy anyway. I've always contended that whenever AR becomes good enough to drive consumer interest, that it'll be a feature on an all-in-one headset that does both. So
yeah,
we'll ride the VR train until AR gets good enough.
yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, what happened to Magic Leap?
Magic Leap. I think somebody just bought Magic Leap. Actually,
All
somebody
the
just bought
hype. What
the.
happened to Noah
Yeah,
with his Magic Leap?
right.
I want to know, Noah, what if you're out there, bro? How are you still playing it every day?
HoloLens won, man. I think HoloLens won.
Oh, was it HoloLens? Yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, HoloLens is the Microsoft version. It's still around. They've got big contracts with like military and things
yeah,
like that.
true.
Anyway, headline Zuckerberg. Okay, so this is a quote from Zuckerberg. Facebook will be a metaverse company in 5 years. So they're saying that, today the identity of Facebook is a social media company. They're saying in 5 years, their identity is going to be a metaverse company. Now, this might not seem like such a big headline to anyone who hears this. We've always maintained from the day one that their entire end game has been to build a social platform. So it's not entirely surprising to hear something like this. What's surprising is when you read the article and read some of the things that Zuckerberg is saying during this interview. And there's multiple times in this interview that he talks about the multiverse as not being something that's going to be created and controlled by one company. He's admitting that the real uh, the real metaverse, when is established, is going to be a collaboration from everyone, uh, which which is obvious to anyone on the outside looking in that that's how it would have to be. But it's significant to hear Facebook admit that they're not going to be the end all be all when all is said and done. It's a shift, in my opinion, in their philosophy to be more of a team player with everyone else out there.
Yeah, well, you kind of have to be a team player when you don't. If you feel there's a lot of things with public concept, ideas as far as how they believe things. So if you see things are slipping away from you, you want to get ahead of it, and you want to make it seem like it's something you knew and it's always been this way, instead of maybe a year or two ago they really thought we're going to dominate this thing, and they're starting to see some moves from other companies and realize that that's not the case. I don't think it's necessarily that they're for the good of VR they want to work together, but I don't really care if that's the case or not. I just want
Oh
what's good
no,
for everybody. If
no,
they're
that's
being
not.
forced in that respect, I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. Their motivation isn't for the good of VR completely selflessly.
Mm.
We have to remember that they've been beta testing Horizon for the better part of a year now, and I'm sure that they realize at this point that they can't do it on their own. Not what they want to build, not what they want VR to be. If people, they have to have people buying into it, which means it has to be good enough. And I think they're starting to realize now that they can't be the best at everything. People are starting to call them out on them ripping off other people's ideas, even if they do it better than the people they steal it from. I think they're realizing now that the only way they're going to get to where they want to be is with help from other companies. So I think that it's not an accident that we see them switching to OpenXR, the universal VR platform, the same week we hear Zuckerberg publicly talking about contributing to the metaverse as opposed to owning it. I think it's a real a shift in vision from Facebook, and I think that it's good for us as consumers.
Yeah, absolutely. Mepper's got a good point. You have to be a team player when you see antitrust lawsuits coming. And it's just like everything else, what we talked about with Valve and the whole 2 week, 2 hour thing. And, sometimes, I mean, not even sometimes, these big companies, man, they when things start getting hot, they shift quick and try to put things down, put out fires out. And that's what Facebook is doing. And I think it is good for us. So that's cool.
Yeah, for the first time in a long time, I'm actually a little bit interested in Horizon now. Not that I want to get in it tomorrow and check it out. I don't think we're going to see it tomorrow. I think that Horizon's actually going to be at the very least another year to 2 years out before they launch it. I think they're going to hold it until it's ready. I think that they're going to continue to develop Horizon until it's amazing. And when it's amazing is when we'll get it. Uh, he talked a little bit about Horizon in this video, or I'm sorry, this interview as well. And he was describing it as this awesome place where you can be, taking in a concert, uh, over here in this part of it, and then immediately, you know, go over to this part of it and start playing a AAA game. You know what I mean? It's really big ideas that they have, and I think they know if they go too early, that no one will want to buy into it. I think they know that it has to be amazing, and therefore I think it will be amazing when we finally see it.
Yeah. Well, if they listen to responses from people after their beta, they definitely know they need to wait because it was it's the most unreceived thing I've ever seen. But I agree. Down the road, it'll be something. So
Yeah, originally it was going to be a Rec Room ripoff, but Rec Room guys are killing it so hard. I think Facebook realizes that they can't catch up. Not the Rec Room, bro. Rec Room's got a lock on that space.
yeah. Well, I don't need we need some we don't need another rec room. We need the metaverse. All right. So 5 years.
Right.
That's all we need. Just wait 5 years.
Yeah, they talk about the metaverse as a natural evolution of the internet, like the next version of the internet.
My theory
And
is you'll need the metaverse in 5 years. Uh, I don't know. Will we will we even be able to leave our house, bro? That's the question. You know what I mean? You have this might be the only way you interact with people is the metaverse.
yeah, yeah, I mean that might be it. You
Let's
never
hope
know.
not.
5 years is a long time. 5 years is roughly how long we've had VR
That's
at this
crazy.
point. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
crazy, bro.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up the Facebook news for the week and move us into regular stuff again. Warplanes. Well, I guess this kind of is Facebook news as well. Warplanes World War One fighters coming to the Oculus store soon. So this was a one of those titles, Roots. It's one of those titles that went to App Lab, but it was so good, everybody's like, "Why is this on App Lab?"
Yeah,
And
and so now they're moving
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's going to the big boy store, Roots. It's going to be in the actual proper Oculus store.
That's a good thing, but it makes you wonder, like, what is the criteria on what they're doing this for? How did it end up on App Lab to begin with? How does it move up? How do you move up in this system? There's so much ambiguity behind it. They're like, nobody knows what's going on. I don't know how their system works. I mean, that's good because now people can search and find your game. I guarantee you sell a lot more copies. It's just weird. How does it? I just the whole thing makes me wonder what the hell is going on.
Yeah, man. I mean, you have an all-time great game like To the Top on there that's still on App Lab, never got moved over to the regular. Oculus Store. It's awesome that it's on App Lab, but they integrated multiplayer in it when they went to App Lab, and I played To the Top the other day on my Quest, and it's to the top, 1-to-1, man. It's perfect to the top. So I don't know why it's not on the main store. And then we had Squingle that we played last week. I mean, games don't get much higher from a quality standpoint that production wise than that game. It looks beautiful. It sounds beautiful. It's a unique idea. There's nothing else out there like it. No idea what they're thinking with the app lab. It's crazy.
I'm just confused. And because you're right. I didn't even when I went to find Squingle, I didn't even know how to find it, bro. Like I thought it was out on all these stores. I was looking it up because I thought, okay, we got Squingle. I got to go play it. I didn't know. I couldn't remember that it was on App Lab, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And they just I did the whole thing. Was it Wolveraz has got a good point as well. It was on side quests to begin with, Warplanes. Then it moved to App Lab. Now it's moving to the main store. What the fuck is
Moving on
happening?
up.
How does it? Yeah, it's moving on up. That's great. How did it move up? I'm sure as a developer, like to the top, and like say you got this game, you've developed it, you got stuck in the App Lab, and you see this. It's like, okay, well, I want to move up. How do I do it? Well, I don't know. I guess you
And
just
it's
have to.
huge for a game like this too. It's huge for a game like this that has a multiplayer component, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It baffles me, and I don't understand. There's some weird stuff going on in different stores. I think was it the Sony one that doesn't really list what's on certain things that you have to go to they don't tell you what's on sale, or what is it that you've had trouble with the Sony?
They've rectified a lot of the problems uh, that came with the revamp of the PlayStation Store. Um, I mean, I'm still not as used to it as I was the old one, but you can filter out things now
Okay,
and organize the games. I mean, when they first switched over to the new PlayStation Store, there was no order to the games at all, not alphabetical, not by price. It was just random, and you had to you know, uh, just scroll through and shop. You couldn't see which ones were new and which ones were old. It was terrible, but they have since fixed that, and it's
okay.
back to having criteria that you can categorize the results with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously this news is it needed to happen because I'm looking through the comments and every single person is raving about how amazing this game. Even PD, who's played a million games, is raving about how amazing it is. That tells you a lot. So it's definitely needs to be moved to the Oculus store. I just wish there was a little bit more clarity on how they run it. But I'm just glad I'm not a developer trying to get on the Oculus store because then I'd be really frustrated.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for what some of these developers are doing with Quest 2 now that Quest 1's kind of getting left behind, and we're going to talk more about that in a second. But I've noticed lately, like for example, Squingle, we were just talking about. When I was talking about the developer or talking about Squingle with the developer the other day, he told me that everything's 1-to-1 between the Steam version and the Quest 2 version. Like they didn't redo the graphics or anything for Oculus Quest. The code is the same. And the only difference being on Steam, you can super sample, and on Quest, you really can't so much. But besides that, it's identical. And we're seeing more of this Vin VR Adventure, which is coming to Oculus Quest soon. The Oculus Quest 2 version of Vin Roots has dynamic shadows in it. Think about
Really?
that.
Oh
Yeah.
wow. Remember the days when
On
people were complaining about Moss not having a reflection in
yeah.
the thing? I mean, we're way past that with the second iteration of the Quest, and they're fine tuning it. I still don't think most of these devs have really been able to unleash all the power out of that.
Oh, no. No,
Uh,
they just dropped that Quest 1 requirement like 2 or 3 months ago. It wasn't that long ago. 6 tops. So we're just now starting to see what's going to come out of that, and it makes me excited, especially for the Oculus exclusives. The Resident Evil 4s, the Ubisoft games that are coming. I bet those things are going to be amazing.
Yeah. Onikaze says, oof, hope the Steam heads don't see that or they'll review bomb it for a lazy port. Even if it's a good game, they'll be like, that's lazy. You know, the reviews, yeah, it's out of control, bro. We're into cancel culture and the reviews now. And it's weird.
Yeah, we're going to talk some more about that here in a few minutes too. But first, story of the week, Roots. After the fall, delayed again. Oculus Quest version to 2022. Now, we need to clarify here because there is some confusion here with this. When you read that headline, Quest 2 owners out there are going, "Ah, they said that they would give it to us when the PC players and PlayStation players got it." Quest 2 people, take a deep breath because the headline says Oculus Quest version
Mm.
to 2022. The Oculus Quest 2 version, Roots, is launching later this year, along with the PC version, along with the PlayStation version. The Oculus Quest 2 version will launch as well. It's only the OG Quest version that got pushed into next year.
Yeah. Drop it. Well, it's going to piss off some people that are Quest 1 owners, but man, you should have seen the tea leaves in your tea. You should have read a long time ago. Wes was getting rid of that Quest 1 before the 2 was even out. And I've said this several times. I don't know why anybody at this point hasn't sold their Quest 1 and upgraded to the 2 with the cost of the 2 and how much better of an upgrade it is. I mean, I think you got your Quest 2 and didn't even really pay much for it because you sold your other one. So that I mean, you're subsidizing it. It's kind of a hassle, but it's worth it. And then you're not.
I, s-
That's crazy.
no, no, I was just gonna say I sold my Quest 1 on the day that Quest 2 pre-orders went live for $300.
See, that's what I'm just saying, dude. Like, it's having foresight. And even if you sold it for $200 a week or two later, it's worth the upgrade. And don't get me wrong, if you have a Quest 1, that's awesome. You can play some games, but you're now getting pushed up against the wall. You know what I mean? You're now getting delayed titles. You're losing I just for me, I feel like you have the last iteration of console PS4, PS3, and now the titles are on the verge of not being released for your console anymore. And that's a big thing because now you don't have access to the games coming out. So the ship is sinking. Get off now, quick.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people out there are saying, but I only use it for PC VR right now, and it's still a viable PC VR headset. It has an OLED screen in it. The Quest 2 can't even say that. It's a good PC VR headset. Um, but when you consider the games and when you consider the going forward after Lone Echo 2, that's it.
Mm.
All Facebook's money is going into standalone games. And I know right now you don't think you want any standalone games, but let me tell you, they're getting better and better and better, and we still haven't seen anyone come near maximizing the potential of this hardware. So you're going to want one, even if you don't think so. The day's coming, I
Not
promise
only
you.
that, but the clarity of the screen is so good on that headset. Like I said this when I first got the Quest 2. The first thing that blew my mind was YouTube. It was a fucking commercial. It popped up immediately. Popped up first thing I opened YouTube commercial, and I was like, "Oh my god, that looks so good." Because I'm always looking at it from the consumer standpoint as somebody that's never tried VR. They put this thing on. Okay, I tried the gear. This is a gimmick. Let me put it on. Let me try YouTube. Oh my god, you know what I mean? Like it- I don't think you're going to get that from the Quest 1 screen. I never tried it, so I don't know, but I'm assuming it's not as clear. um, but I feel like the ship is sinking and you could still get some money. Like Onikazi said, he had an offer on his Quest 1. He passed on it. He probably should have taken it. You're getting on the verge of it being not. I mean, I saw a Go for $50 on Facebook Marketplace the other day.
Yeah,
Eventually the Quest 1's going to go for $50 and then you're going to wish you sold it for 150 to 200, and then got a Quest 2 for 300. Like it's so close in price. So I don't know.
right. Yeah, absolutely. And when I come across one for $50, I'll probably pick it up. But anyway, what do you think about this after the fall delay, Roots? I mean, this was a game that was supposed to be out in 2019. It got pushed into 20. I'm sorry, it was a game that's supposed to be out. It was announced in 2019, supposed to be out in 2020, got pushed into 2021, and here we are late summer, and it's getting delayed again.
I don't care when it comes out as long as it's good. You know, I imagine something like Returnal, if it came out a year before it did and was half baked, I don't want it. You know what I mean? I want this game to be amazing. I want, if it takes the devs a little bit more time. I mean, if they're delaying it to have it come, like perfect example, Onslaught. If you're delaying your game to come out and have it be shit, then that's not a good thing. That's not good at all. I don't think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be an amazing game. So I don't mind it being delayed. I know there's a lot of people like I think it was Wolveraza was a little put off in the, was it him in the Discord? He's really looking forward to this game. Somebody was, and but I'd rather have it be delayed than have it come. There's so many bad releases of games anymore, and I'm just done. I'm so tired of bad games. I'm tired of bad releases. I'm ready to start throwing games under the bus if they want it. You know what I mean? Like it 100% is the developer's fault. If you release your game and it's not ready and it gets shit on and in the reviews, it's your fault. You know what I mean? If you release your game too expensive and it gets shit on, it's your fault. Like the devs, they have a lot of control, 100%. And the good ones make the right decisions and they delay, and they release a finished product versus a half baked one.
I absolutely agree with you wholeheartedly. It's not just a saying when we say we'd rather wait on a game than wait on a patch. I think that pretty much sums up how everyone feels. And yeah, I applaud them for being honest. They're not making, lockdown excuses and all this stuff. They're just saying they need some more time. It's very ambitious what they're trying to do here.
Mm,
Release this level of game concurrently on all platforms and have crossplay enabled so everyone can play together seamlessly. To have crossplay is one thing, but to have it work is another, right? We've seen so many bad iterations of this. I'm sure they want it to work, and it's going to work. Um, but things like this take time. I think it's a good move. I'm happy that we're still going to be getting it this year, as opposed to the Quest One owners who have to wait until next year to get it. And I think it's telling. I think it's telling when we see this type of game get delayed after we saw something similar from The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Aftershocks recently. They want to launch their update on all these platforms at the same time as well, and they did the same thing, and it's the right thing to do. So I think they deserve to be commended for it.
I agree 100%. And still looking forward to it. I think it's going to be amazing.
I do too, and I don't know this to be fact, but it would make sense. We normally don't see big long delays like this, like we have from these really high profile studios. But I think the timing's interesting now that we know that Oculus is switching to OpenXR. Now maybe we could see why maybe it would take another couple of months to get the code in line, right? I'm sure they don't want to move ahead on a dead Oculus platform, but rather optimize for OpenXR and and have support going forward. So again, I don't know that's the case, but the timing would suggest it.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Maybe it was Techno Glitch because he says he doesn't. That was complaining in the Discord. He doesn't believe that it's coming this year. So we'll see. I mean, if it gets delayed, and like I said, I don't care. I just want it to come out and be good and enjoy the game. And I think that's why Arizona Sunshine was so good, is they took their time, right? Made sure it was good, and it's lasted all the way up till now. And this game, I think, is going to blow us away.
Yeah, and there's not going to be any lack for stuff to play for the remainder of the year. I expect you to die 2, arriving August 24th for Quest, PSVR, PCVR. So here we have another cross-platform launch, all on one day. Roots, do you think we get this on the actual day that they're quoting here?
August 24th. I don't know. That's the magic day. Everything's coming out that day. I hope so. Kind of looking forward to this, right? I'm
Yeah,
not.
yeah,
I haven't. I mean, I'm not the expert on this game. The first one, those missions are pretty tough. They get pretty tough, but it's one of the coolest escape the room type of games I've played. So
yeah, and it's exciting because of what we said earlier is true. All of these studios improve and expand their capabilities game to game to game. And even though this is a straight up sequel to I Expect You to Die, and it doesn't look a whole lot different from the promo material, I guarantee you this is going to be a proper evolution of that game. Uh, Coming from the studio that it comes from, these are some of the OG VR game makers in the world.
yeah, yeah, dude. I think it's gonna be amazing. So
PD in the chat says loads of quality titles out within the next month. Yeah, man. It's that time of year, bro.
yeah, yeah. There's definitely a lot of stuff for sure.
Headline Google Studio Alchemy Labs affirms work on a new VR game. This is actually a big deal, Roots, as we learned that Google had purchased Alchemy Labs, the developer that brought us Job Simulator and Vacation Simulator. It made us wonder because they picked the studio up right around the time they dropped their VR platform. So we were wondering, are they going to convert Alchemy Labs into a flat gaming studio? What are they doing? And now we've find out they're not doing anything, man. They're still going to make VR games, and they have a new game in the works, 100% confirmed.
Yeah, sometimes people just see value in something and they want to be a part of it, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, when you talk about popular VR games, I mean, Job Simulator's got to be up there even still, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And vacation simulators up there with anybody that wants. I always bring this up because this is Wes's claim to shame.
Yeah.
The TV breaker, dude. Don't throw the fish. Okay, just don't do it. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Not if your Guardian's turned off. Definitely not.
Well, who has their Guardian on anymore? I have my Guardian on because I have to because it kind of makes weirdness to the Quest 2, but I make it bigger than my room almost so that you know what I mean? It's not on essentially. It's on, but I don't use it. So,
What what I um what I do, I leave it off most of the time, but what I'll do is I'll turn it on uh just enough, just long enough so that I can set my floor level. And after it gets your floor level, you can turn it off and it'll stick.
okay.
But I generally every other day or so I'll turn my Guardian on for like 2 minutes and then turn it off.
Yeah. No, I leave it on and I just like I said, I just draw it bigger than my desk, bigger than everything. So if I'm gonna smash something, I'm still smashing things, but uh
Right.
nobody smashes things. Only rookies smash things and people without I guess you're not a rookie, but that was a long time ago.
PD in the chat, just giving everyone a heads up that the Firewatch VR mod is actually available to download now. We covered this in recent weeks, Roots. I don't know if you'll
Oh
remember.
yeah.
Um, but apparently, anyone who joins this guy's Patreon can get that mod now, and apparently, it works very well.
Oh wow. That's cool. I
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for the Red Dead Redemption 2 fix. He's pretty close.
yeah. Well, that's certainly going to be cool as well. But I'm really interested in this Firewatch. I've never played it before. I never heard of it until recently, and apparently it's my type of deal here. Very story heavy experience, and it looks beautiful in VR. I watched a little bit of Gamer Tag's video he
Oh
put out
wow.
on it this morning. Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, headline: NVIDIA's latest update adds one-click optimal settings into into the Radius VR. So we've reported on Into the Radius a few times lately. All the awesome upgrades that are coming to that game's engine, and among those, the RTX features, right? The DLSS 2.0. And I think isn't it does it support ray tracing as well, Roots? I'm thinking it does.
I think it does. I don't know, man. That's a lot of stuff to be running, right?
Yeah. Well, the cool thing about it is generally the one of the biggest negatives of PC gaming. One of the things that makes me a bit more averse to picking up my PCVR headset is I don't like to tinker. I like for things to just work. I don't like tweaking settings. But apparently, for Into the Radius VR on PC, if you have an RTX card, the latest
Mm,
update allows you to just click one thing and it automatically tailors your settings to your computer for you.
wow. I used to have a RTX card. Now it's in the mail floating around somewhere, bro. Now I was thinking about, do you think I could play Red Dead Redemption 2 on this integrated graphics card? No, probably not. In VR.
I tried to play something. I don't remember what it was when I was running on integrated graphics. I tried to play something like flat, and it didn't want to run. So there's
Mm,
no way.
there's no way.
Headline: Super. Oh, we're going to talk about Super Woke Roots.
Mm.
Superhot VR review bombed after removing self harm scenes. Roots. They took the scenes out of Superhot where you have to show your dedication, show that you understand that you're in a simulation by killing yourself, by pulling the putting the gun to your head and pulling the trigger. Now I understand that suicide's nothing to joke about, okay? But what's going on in this game is not a realistic depiction of suicide. It's a test in faith, basically. It says show your commitment, right? It doesn't say Roots. It doesn't say they're all laughing at you. Nobody likes you. Why are we still doing this? It doesn't say stuff like that. It doesn't play at depression or any of the serious things associated with uh people who have suicidal thoughts and tendencies. I think this is absolutely idiotic on the part of the super hot developers if they really believe what they're saying.
Yeah, well, that's weird. My biggest thing is, I mean, part of me gets it in some respect because I was kind of shocked when I first did that. I was like, wow, that's kind of weird. But at the same time, like, where does it stop? That's my worry. There's a lot of people that don't like guns at all, and so at some point, do we start removing guns from every game? You know, like, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is because I want people to be comfortable. You know what I mean? And I guess for some people this makes it uncomfortable. But like you said, there's not. It's not. They're not really talking on. Maybe they could have just done a disclaimer before this scene. Don't kill yourself. This is a. I don't know. I get worried about things because you're seeing everything in life getting retroactively changed. And I don't want things retroactively changed. You know. So.
It would be one thing if I actually believed that had some kind of epiphany and all of a sudden their conscience were getting to them and they felt like this is something that they had to do so that they could look at themselves in the mirror and go to bed at night. That's how they're portraying this. I don't believe it for a second. They're trying to make their cash cow cancel proof. They're afraid they're going to get canceled. That's the only reason that they're doing this. And as much as I despise review bombing as a practice, I can't say that it's hurting my feelings at all in this case, because anybody that's going to bow down to this mob culture that we've got going on right now, this bully mentality, this peer pressure, to act and behave a certain way that isn't your how you naturally feel, I'm going to have a problem with it, and I have a problem with this. I think uh, it's it's disturbing. We'll
I
just say
agree.
that.
I agree. And gaming science teacher's got a good point. She said it made her feel uncomfortable, but she would have been happy to have an option to turn it off, and that's the key. Like, let people choose to leave it. It's kind of like having gratuitous blood in your game, right? If you don't want to see it, whatever. But yeah, it's kind of a shame that people bowed down to peer pressure because I kind of feel like that's what it is. But wanted to shout out Anthony Man Wexford for his $10 um, I think that's pounds. I don't know. What do you always call it? Donation. Thanks for all your hard work.
Something Yeah, I call it something different every week. We can call it yen this week if you want. 10
Yeah,
yen.
10 yen. So we got 10 yen. Thanks for all the hard work, guys. Always a great show. And shout out to Reckoner VR. See him in the chat as well. What's going on, Gary?
Thank you, Anthony, for the support. We really appreciate everyone who contributes. We're putting it to good use. Um,
Yeah, we both have capture
well,
cards now because of it, and we can put out content. So which is cool.
yeah, yeah. It directly funded my most recent and only to date stream, one of many to come.
Hmm,
So thank you guys. We really appreciate the support.
absolutely.
Headline: Two new Harry Potter VR experience launch at Harry Potter New York Roots. It's location based, but it exists.
Yeah. Well, and you wonder, that just because it's location based today doesn't mean someday it might not be ported over to a store near you, right? And it mean, like you said, it's uh, exists. And how cool would it be to go to something like this?
Both experiences are multiplayer. They're each about 30 minutes in length. One of them, you're flying around exploring the halls of Hogwarts. You're exploring Hogwarts. And the other one, you're racing down the streets of London, fighting off Death Eaters as you go.
Oh wow, that sounds pretty cool, man.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah,
I want it.
yeah. Well, let's do it. Got to move to New York.
Right, right. Let's go to New York. It's sad, like the things that I want to do most in terms of tourism, mostly involve going to location-based VR destinations.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool though. Um, so I don't know if traveling is the best thing to do now, but maybe in the near future.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm going to be traveling this week. Actually, I'm not to New York, obviously, but I guess it's a good time to mention that we might not have the nighttime show this week. We certainly won't have it in its original time slot because I'm going to be out of town on Wednesday. But we're going to get you some content out there, whether that ends up being a gameplay stream or maybe we do the show on Tuesday. We haven't decided yet, but we'll have something for you this week. We're not going to leave you hanging high and dry. It'll be there'll be content and it will be entertaining as it always is.
Absolutely.
I think last time I did this, I put up a video of me beating Half-Life Alex for the first time. Like I pulled one out of the vault.
Well, this time hopefully we'll have something fresh and new involving both of us. And but it was cool. It was cool to watch you beat the game.
Yeah, yeah, it was fun for me to watch it after all this time. It brought back old feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. Old feelings are always good. Well, not always good, but they can be.
Crisis Brigade 2 co-op multiplayer support arrives for PlayStation VR Roots. And it's been a long time coming. Yeah, this is one of those games where you need a friend in there with you.
Yeah. Well, let me clarify that, and you may not mean it in this respect. I do. I literally do need a friend in there. Because I didn't make it that far. I made it to the boss. I made it to that last boss or the first boss or whatever, and he flips the table over or whatever, and I can't make. Well, it's not like I put hours upon hours into it, but I've never passed that room. So I am 100% sure that if I look over and Wes is there crack shotting shit, I'm gonna pass it and I'm gonna move on to the next level.
Well, this game is extraordinarily challenging, and I'm glad for the PlayStation community that they finally are able to play the game the way it was meant to be played. Co-op, a must in this game. I'd also like to see a crouch button. I don't know if they ever enacted anything like that since I've played it, but I remember having to duck an awful lot in real
Mm.
life, and it hurt me. Roots like pistol whip.
Well, you get older, man. What if you have bad knees? That's not good. You can't be just crouching all over the place, bro. You need to be able to
Right,
hit the button.
need a button. That's right. Corporate Zombie in chat. I saw the original Robin Williams Jumanji today. Who's going to turn that into a VR game? I'd say when they remake it, That's a possibility.
Yeah. Well, they've got all sorts of Jumanjis out there that I didn't even know existed. I think I saw the first two, and then after that, I don't know what's out there anymore.
Headline: Sniper Elite VR update supports gun stocks as well as the HP Reverb G2. So, significant update for one of the best releases of the year so far, Sniper Elite VR, getting gun stock support roots, and we kind of already gave gun stocks the thumbs down with this game, but that was before they officially supported them.
Yeah.
You think it's worth another shot?
I guarantee you. Maybe that's why it got fixed because enough people gave it the thumbs down because it was bad. It was the point where I was like, this is making it worse, right? And the gun stock's supposed to make it more stable. I think it's awesome because it's one thing that the aim controller version has over, um, the PC version or the Quest version is you got the actual gun in your hand. But if you can make a gun stock work, I would submit that you got the best of both worlds. And if you can add in your G2, your gel, man, you're good. So,
But now I have this dilemma, Roots, because I own it on Oculus Quest, Oculus Rift. And I was already going to buy another copy. I wanted to get it on PlayStation so I could play with aim controller. But now I have this dilemma like maybe I should pick it up on Steam instead because I could
hmm,
use my Reverb G2 if I buy it on Steam. But then again, it might run in Revive, so I
hmm.
might not need to pick up the Steam version. Research is needed, Roots.
Yeah, and that's you just describe what's going to happen. Wes is going to try it first. If he can't get it to work on the Revive, then maybe the Steam version. So I would imagine it's going to
Well,
be amazing. That game is already amazing, but with the G2 clarity.
Wolveraza in chat says, I need a gun stock so bad. I want my down the scope shot so bad. So, we get where you're coming from because we were recently there. Now, I can honestly say that since I've had this thing, I have only used it a handful of times, but there is a decent budget option out there. If you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on a gun stock, you could get the Sandlockie gun stock, which is a 3D printed deal that you can buy
Hmm.
on eBay. What was it, Roots? About $70 for this thing?
Yeah, something that, or maybe a little bit closer to 100. Definitely, if you're going to get it from Sandlockie itself, because there's a lot of people out there. The guy was so nice that he put out the plans for people so that if you don't have money and you got a printer, you can make your own. And people started printing it and selling it as their own, literally saying they created it, but they're cutting corners and things don't fit properly. You have to adjust certain things. So you're going to get the gun stock, but you're going to have to adjust some things to make it work. Um, but you know, the guy, his heart is going to screw him. So don't help screw him by buying it from somebody else.
Right, right. Yeah, so I guess you should do your due diligence. Hopefully, he's putting some means to authenticate his product out there.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing, to be honest. I think he would have been better off in just not releasing it, but it's too late now. Cat's out of the bag, right? So
Yeah. And the week's final headline: Strides Oculus Quest launch confirmed for August. So Joyway keeping busy, Roots, bringing Stride over to Oculus Quest
mm.
within a few weeks.
Torn, super torn on this. I thought it was cool. I was like, wow, it's cool. It's coming to the Quest, but this is just one more announcement, one more Joyway announcement saying, Roots, you're not getting your campaign yet. I know they're working on it, and that's amazing. I still refuse to play this game until they add the one component that I wanted it for. And I do admit this. It's not about me. It's not about Roots. So it's awesome that they are. I mean, why would you not want to bring it to Quest? That's the number one platform as far as sales, right? So it's awesome for them.
Yeah, yeah, and Joyway, one of these companies that never ceases to amaze me here. It's beginning to get to be old hat finding a Joyway headline when I'm doing show prep, but yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying. The story campaign for Stride was the thing I was looking forward to the most, and they still haven't delivered that. But I'm getting to the point now where I really just don't even care about Stride anymore because the other stuff that Joyway's
For
doing
real.
has has gotten my attention, and they're a prime example of one of these companies that continues to up the game to game to game. The only thing is that they only wait a month in between announcing the next game. It's crazy the kind of output these guys have going on.
Yeah, that is crazy. But they're hardworking and they're putting out quality games. That's all that matters. And like I said, it's not all about me. And I think it is exciting for them that they're bringing this their game to another platform to make some money, so that the next iterations of those games you're talking about that they're working on can be completed, and then I can enjoy them as well.
Yeah, yeah, and we're more on that in just a few moments. But that's going to wrap up this week's headlines and get us in to this week's big stories of the week. Not very many stories, much bigger than Larcenauts. Impulse Gear's highly anticipated multiplayer hero shooter Larcenauts launched last month to mixed reviews, with last minute issues causing Steam VR headsets to lack support and gameplay elements like auto reloading not going down well with players. This past week, the studio rolled out the Immersion Overload update to rectify problems and provide a much more engaging experience. The Immersion Overload update offers a few new features and options that have all been heavily requested by the community since the game's initial launch. The new update adds two manual reloads, two-handed pivot aiming. Well, excuse me, I'm tripping over my words. The new update adds manual reloads, two-handed pivot aiming, immersive sprinting, cross-play lobbies, spatialized group chat in the lobby, and haptic support.
Hmm.
In an attempt to give players some incentive to log back in and check out these new features, the studio is giving everyone who logs in by the end of July a new skin for Kalima the Infiltrator. Larcenauts available now, of course, $30 on Oculus Quest, Oculus Link, or Steam VR. Full crossplay support and cross-buy is enabled. So, Roots, this is a prime example of what you were talking about earlier. A game coming to market when it's not quite ready to come to market. But all is forgiven, right? Because they come through now a month later with the patch that gives everybody everything that they ever asked for. And I got to be honest, Roots, it's going over quite well in the Discord here. People say that Larcenauts is legit now.
Yeah, I saw somebody in there post a GIF that said it's time. And oh, that was you. So it is time. It's time to go. I know that was for me, because we've been talking about it's time to go back. It's now time for Wes and I to go into this game together and check it out. And I am excited to it. And if you're wondering where I disappeared to, don't worry, I'm still here. Obviously, you can hear my voice. But just to get everything evenly running here, because it's just, I guess this is too much to have this video running, or something's going on. So I'm just scaling
Roots!
back. I'm scaling back, bro.
Roots, are you there?
No, I'm a ghost. I'm not here. I'm hiding,
I,
actually.
I can't see you.
There's probably some people confused. Although, I would submit that the audio people, they have no idea what I'm talking about.
Right, right. So it's all the same to them, right?
Yeah, they don't care.
Anyway, what you're saying is absolutely true. It is time. I think, I have yet to try Larcenauts, but I'm going to now because people are saying that it's actually good now. And I like what I'm hearing on almost a daily basis now in the Discord this week. Everybody seems to be loving this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely psyched to go into it. Everything, as you were reading, what you were reading, the things they fixed, it's all stuff that needed to be fixed. Everything that sounded good. Immersive sprinting. Who doesn't want to immersively sprint in real life as well? So
It's funny. Whenever GT's in chat, he often talks about his hand in beta testing and his feedback directly impacting the game. We see stuff here, but when we see the list end with B haptic support, it makes you kind of feel maybe GT's been working, behind the scenes over the last month.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very possible, right? Mhm.
Right. I would say that it's a very good possibility. Again, manual reloading added in, which was a big thing for a lot of people. Two-handed pivot aiming. I didn't even know that this wasn't already in there. Apparently, before, even if you were holding the gun with two hands, you really still only aimed with one. The offhand didn't affect the trajectory of the gun at all. So
No, I,
very unrealistic physics and immersion breaking.
I remember somebody complaining about that actually. So that is good. Like I said, everything that I saw or that you were reading off was checking boxes, right? And it makes you wonder. I wish, I really wish they would have just done what everybody else bitched about today and yesterday and delayed the game a month or whatever it would have taken to test this game or something. I don't know what the answer is. But developers need to figure it out and stop releasing their games early. Because imagine Larcenauts coming out the way it is now on day one. Uh,
Yeah.
You can't, you'll
Yeah.
never
Right.
get that back. You'll never get the momentum that you could have had. And now you're settling for the momentum you have now, which could be amazing. It's just an uphill battle. And for such an amazing game, it's a shame to see them have to fight that battle, and they could have avoided it by just testing the game a little bit more and listening to. I mean, this is one of the things. If you've got gamertag in your beta, listen to his suggestions. You know what I mean? Like the dude knows what he's talking about. And I had so many developers that he'll suggest all these different things, and then they don't listen to him, and then a month later they're implementing it. It's weird. So
Well, GT must have his ears must have been itching because GT joining us in chat. We were just speculating, GT, that you might be personally responsible for the B haptic support coming to Larcenauts. An interesting surprise at the end of the update notes.
yeah, absolutely. He says, "Is it black for anybody else? Are you talking about my coffee? Or are you talking about the show?" It is not. I'm assuming. Yeah, Onikazi doesn't. I am missing. I'm gone. I've taken myself out of the equation for the rest of the stream, just to make my GPU not freak out anymore, or CPU rather.
Yeah, he's running without his graphics card, which is currently being RMA'd by EVGA. So we're running on integrated graphics this week. But he literally just jumped out. It's been pretty good so far, actually.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean everything else is running good. I'm just monitoring the temperatures and it's about the only thing that's freaking me out. So.
Anyway, I think the moral of the story here with Larcenauts is that After the Fall is doing the right thing, because you only get one chance to make a first impression, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You get one.
And with that said, let's move on to our next topic. This is one I'm really interested in talking about. This past week, Joyway announced Outlier, a VR roguelike with creative weaponry that's clearly designed around VR. The title is a third such game that is currently in active development from the studio, joining Stride and Against on the coming soon list. As the studio explains, after Stride, it built out two prototypes to explore for a future project. One of those prototypes led to the rhythm game Against, and the other, as we've now learned, has become Outlier. Outlier is going to be a first person shooter with lots of mechanics tailored to making the VR gameplay as immersive as possible. And we've got a synopsis here from Joyway. It says, quote, "You are a captain of one of the last human arcs. In search of a new home for humanity, your vessel was sucked into a black hole. From your position beyond space and time, you witness an unknown race devastating what looks like a habitable solar system. The unknown physics of the black hole endow you with mysterious powers and allow you to exist in parallel worlds. Live, die, and repeat in your quest to conquer at least one of these worlds in the name of mankind." So Roots, we have a new game, yet another new game from Joyway, and they're continuing their upward trend. This is now their fourth VR title that I know of, and they have upped the ante with every one. They haven't even released Against yet, and we're already getting preview material for this awesome looking roguelike shooter. Did you watch this trailer with the sound on, and what did you think, if so?
I did not actually, and I'm looking at it, and just what you're talking about kind of reminds me of Returnal or Risk of Rain too, right? Which is cool. So I'm super excited for this game. And yeah, I didn't even know it existed, so that's cool.
Yeah, man. I think this thing looks amazing. Like w- when you start to look at the trailer and actually pay attention to what's going on, you talk about deep games and games having layered gameplay. This has it. And I'll read through a little bit more of the notes here and let you know specifically what I'm talking about. The newly released announcement trailer showcases a number of VR centric weapons. First, we see a rapid fire pistol, which eventually overheats, as seen by a crystal in a small cage on the back of the gun. As it overheats, the rate of fire slows down drastically. But to cool the weapon, you pop open the cage and shake the gun to cool down the crystal. Also shown is a pistol like gun that instead of shooting bullets, shoots pieces of itself. Reloading appears to be done with a pulling gesture, which recalls all the pieces of the gun from the environment and reattaches them to be fired again. The trailer also shows some magic like powers, which can be swapped on the fly by plugging modules into the back of your gloves. A throwable fireball and a sort of force push can be seen. The combination of power ups and ability modifiers makes for different experiences. Combine your spells together to get new ones. Mix a fireball and the telekinetic push to acquire both an explosive fireball and a fire push. Shape your character and armory between the runs to construct diverse builds for any playstyle. So, Roots, it's taking a unique approach uh, to this uh, offensive these offensive abilities. It has some very unique weaponry, but it also allows you to equip supernatural abilities in your gloves. And the cool thing about that is you can combine them so that to make new abilities, which is something that I really haven't seen in a VR game before.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh? Yeah, it sounds like there's quite a bit of layers to this game for sure. And I agree with what you said. It seems like every game that the Joyway has been bringing out has extra to it. You know what I mean? It just it looks really good. I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah, it's everything that you love about roguelike gameplay. It's all about achieving the perfect run, constantly pushing as far as you can before you die. Then you upgrade and you start all over again. You tailor your loadouts between builds, and it's not just all about killing enemies every second. As you progress, random events and new storyline pieces will appear, and you'll need to be on the lookout for secret rooms, hidden passages, and artifacts. So again, so much of what we both love about Returnal showing itself in Outlier. And I think Outlier is a an apt name for this game because if what they're saying here is actually brought to fruition, if they do this well, this game's going to be an outlier. This game's doing things that we haven't seen in VR yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we want. We want the whole VR landscape to be shifted and get better. So uh,
These guys are smart, Roots. I mean, they start out making, you know, your typical indie VR games, and then they progress. They see Beat Saber successful, they see Pistol Whip successful. They do their version on it, except it's a little bit cooler. They see the success of all these roguelikes. They see us coming on here talking about Returnal every episode, and they do their version of it. And it's a hell of a concept. I hope they're able to pull it off. And beyond that, I mean, just looking at the footage here, even in this early state, this is a pretty good looking game, isn't it?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. and looks cool. Looks like they got a good variety of enemies as well. So
Yeah. So as I was saying before, like I would, I wanted the story, the story mode for Stride, but when Against got revealed, I kind of, you know, shifted my attention to that, and I really was uh, really anticipating the release of Against even more than that story mode for Stride. But now Outlier's the one that, like, out of everything I've seen from Joyway, this looks like by far the best thing that the best concept, I should say. I haven't played it yet. It might suck when I get it in the headset, but man, this thing looks like it has a lot of potential, and it could be one of this year's sleeper titles.
yeah, absolutely. And I love Returnal and Risk of Rain too. So I can't imagine why I wouldn't love this one. Looks like it's got a lot to stack up, right? So
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, really looking forward to this one. How about VR, man? Dropping surprises in your lap left and right.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, that's why I love VR.
Uh, anyway, Joyway plans on releasing Outlier via Steam Early Access later this year, with support for Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and Valve Index. So, yeah, much like Against, scheduled for release later this year. So we're not going to have to wait forever. These guys, they're fast, Roots. They're so fast, pumping these games out like Ivanovich or something.
That shows you they must have multiple teams working at the same time, right?
Yeah, well, you can tell by their little animated logo in this trailer that they're moving on up there. They've got some funds in their pocket now, and they're putting them to good use,
Absolutely.
investing in themselves.
Yep.
Reckoner VR in chat said they remind me in some ways of Servios. They hit a lot of projects at the same time, but for the most part, pulled it off. Yeah, I could see the comparison, but I would contend, again, just judging by footage, we haven't played these games yet. I've played a little bit of Against, but again, it was just a demo. But they seem to be upping the scope of the game to game to game. They're upping their level. They're continuing to improve continually. I don't think the same thing can be said for Servios. Servios is kind of hit and miss with their titles.
No, and Servios is they put out a lot of games, but I think they missed the mark on most of them. You know, for what they were trying to hit. You got Creed was a good one, and I'm forgetting the other one now. I always forget Creed for some reason, but now I'm forgetting the other one. There was like two or three good ones, and then everything else was like Sprint Vector was cool, but is anybody playing it now? You know what I mean? And it just it's just weird. It's weird. The Battle Wake was good, but it was not what I wanted anyway. I don't know how many people are playing that anymore. So
So I noticed gaming science teacher saying hello to Drew, and it keyed me off and clued me in, Roots, that I was in top chat again. Damn you,
I
YouTube! Quit putting me in top chat. I miss out on people.
think it's
Uh,
crazy, dude. It should not be default. It should be live chat.
yeah,
So
exactly. Anyway, I am super pumped for Outlier. I can't wait to see more. And if you're watching this Joyway, kudos. Way to up the ante. Uh, yeah, can't wait. Uh, moving along to Neon Hat. Sony Interactive Entertainment has a number of initiatives to support indie developers on PlayStation. These initiatives have been responsible for helping a few notable titles to market, such as Immortal Legacy, The Jade Cipher, as well as Desolation. Back in February, a selection of titles were revealed as part of one such initiative, the PlayStation Talents games Camp Valencia. Let me read that again uh, with the correct pronunciation. The PlayStation Talents games Valencia. So this is one of their these kind of developer meetings that they have where these small developers come in, they show off their projects. Sony decides to support some of them financially to see these projects come to fruition. We've heard about these sorts of things before. But anyway, among the titles revealed at the Games Camp Valencia was an upcoming PlayStation VR game from developer Intalto Studios titled Neon Hat. This past Wednesday, Intalto revealed that Neon Hat will be hitting the PSN store this week. Neon Hat is a vibrant, neon drenched racer designed for use with the PlayStation Move controllers. Each one serves as a rocket booster, allowing players to fly around corners and through checkpoints. The game features its own original synthwave soundtrack, as well as 10 courses played across 3 gameplay modes. Extreme Derby mode is described as a pure racing experience, where race mode is against 3 opponents. Both of these modes feature global leaderboards to compete on. The third mode is called Pursuit. Pursuit essentially is a boss mode where players have to destroy a data snatcher. This ties in with Neon Hat's backstory, where players become what's known as a hat operator. So, Roots, this I would describe this as a jetpack racer with a story. Uh, and it has that cool looking retro vibe that it's kind of like it's something that's kind of common to the genre now, right? Not so where we have so many games in it, but I mean we have games that look like this. Uh, we have we see tons of content creators on YouTube who have intros and outros that have this kind of look and feel to it. It's kind of become its own thing. This um, neo retro, I think it's called, and I think it's cool. I think it's going to be fun to fly around with my jetpack.
Oh, yeah, that sounds amazing. Now, is it exclusive for PlayStation VR?
It is. This is currently an exclusive for PlayStation VR, completely funded by Sony. But the same could have been said at one point for uh, Immortal Legacy, and eventually it came to Steam. So, yeah, as for the time being, Neon Hat is a PlayStation VR exclusive, but doesn't mean it always will be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lipnox VR. Is anyone else seeing 1 frame per second? It's stuttering. Yeah, it's Roots' a graphics card or lack thereof.
Should be
We're
good
we're
now
running.
because I've now eliminated the video, so uh got the load is way down on the CPU. I don't know, it was at 100% load all cores for a minute there, so that's why uh
Was it just this the
it
trailer
might be
for
the
Neon Hat?
scene. We'll see, but we're limping through it, and this is in my mind solidifying that the next episode on Tuesday probably will be a recorded money show. And we may or may not. Hopefully, I'll have my card by next Sunday, and then it'll be a non-issue. So, but I
Yeah.
without the
Well,
video, man, it is nice and smooth.
right. Well, I mean, without the video, I mean, yeah.
it's
Anyway,
it becomes an audio show.
yeah. I mean, okay. Well, we'll just we'll move along and try to get through the segment. Hopefully, the next one won't be like that. We do have a bit of a story teaser here. It says, "You are one of the few people qualified to fly around the web, and you have decided to become the best racer on the whole net. However, you're aware that the web is not a place for the faint of heart. Several people try to harm those connected through the net by controlling their enormous ultra viruses. PlayStation Talents and Intalto Studios launching Neon Hat for PSVR on the 29th of July. Another surprise launch route. We knew this game was coming. We actually touched on this game developers camp when it happened, and we mentioned Neon Hat, but at that time we only had a screenshot. It's interesting that the first time that we see any kind of gameplay footage of it, it that we're getting it next week, right? It's just dropped right in our lap.
Yeah, well, that's just the way it works, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah. In VR, certainly that's the way it works. So you never know what's going to come uh, week to week, day to day, even.
Yeah, absolutely. Traveling man throwing 5 yen out there. He says it's all good. Your computer's not melting down. I just added that last part, but now I've got a good load, man. That video was killing it, bro.
You know who loves it when you've got a good load, Roots?
My mom!
Oh yeah, she does. And that's the thing is she shows up no matter what's going on, video or no video. That's why I love her so much.
D-Rail says, as long as I can look deeply into Wes's eyes, I'm good. Well, let me just tell you, Daryl.
No, I'm just kidding. I got rid of your camera for a second there.
I feel the same way. Anyway, pretty cool backstory to Neon Hat here. A little familiar. I think Res Infinite kind of doing the same thing where you're transporting your physical body into a digital one to enter the network and fight the evil viruses. So yeah, well, I think we've heard this story before, haven't we?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what. You know who else wants to fight evil viruses?
My mom!
Oh, she does.
Onakazi says he's playing Returnal while listening. Well, don't let us distract you too much, man. Those evil bastards will get you. They'll sneak up on you.
Yep.
Anyway, one more topic before we get into the week's reminders. I would be remiss um, to let the week go by without talking about the last video store. Rarebird Games plans to dish out a heavy dose of nostalgia with its latest project, The Last Video Store. The Last Video Store is going to be part video game and part video player, where you're able to watch old school movies. With some clear inspiration from Blockbuster with its yellow-blue styling, you'll be able to wander around the overly bright store, gingerly scanning row after row of shelving for the perfect selection. If you're like me, you'll start off in the mindset to try something new, but after a solid 30 to 45 minutes of picking up boxes to browse the art and read the synopsis, you'll just settle on an old favorite like Conan the Barbarian, Back to the Future 2, or Monty Python and the Holy Grail. If you have a bit more time to kill, why not go for Terminator 2 Judgment Day? Anyway, the first trailer for the last video store showcases Evil Dead and Mac and Me, demonstrating that you can grab a film off the shelf to watch in your virtual home or in a cinema with friends, thus confirming that there will be a social aspect to the title. You're not just confined to the store either. Rarebird Games has revealed that you'll be able to explore around the store perimeter as well as drive around the neighborhood at night. Okay, so Roots, a clever take on big screen here from these people, uh, allowing you to go into retro Wonderland, making a trip back to Blockbuster Video, and just reliving your youth as you wade through the sea of boxes to try to pick out the perfect selection.
Who doesn't want to go back to Blockbuster? And I've decided if I'm not gonna have the video, I might as well come back to the video. I think it can handle my camera. But yeah, I agree. I think it's really cool. And who doesn't want to go back to Blockbuster, right? There's only one in the United States, and I'm not traveling to it. I can do it in VR.
So, do you think this thing offers enough over big screen to merit a potential purchase from the VR audience?
I don't know. It'll be interesting, for sure. But I know big screen's free, so there's definitely
Well,
that.
big screen is free on PC. Interestingly, big screen has been coming soon to PlayStation VR for years and has yet to release.
Oh wow.
And and this title, The Last Video Store, while it is coming to Steam later, it's launching on PlayStation. So this actually might be a pretty cool thing for people who own PSVR.
Yeah, because they don't have it, right? They don't have any option to it. So it's true. I agree.
Lipnox VR in the chat says, I need that Blockbuster game to be real. Dude, it is real. Let me tell you, it's not just a video player, it's also a game. Again, as we just mentioned, you can explore around the perimeter of the store as well as drive around the neighborhood at night. But that's not all. The game also features, get this, Roots, survival mode that includes realistic local jobs and bills to pay while managing your video enthusiast hobbies on the side. So you
Mm.
not only can you ride around in your car at night, but if you really want to, you can go to your job to pay the bills.
You know, my thing is I already have, I get the joy of paying bills in real life. I don't know that I'm really worried about paying it in the game, but you know, it's cool because you know, like the train, what is that one train game has a thing where you could actually career mode, right? So why not? Why not? You know, if I want to run a video store, but I've never opened, I mean, I don't think video stores are very viable today, right? So this is your only chance to own one.
Well, that's the point, right? If video stores were still on every block the way they used to be, then this title would have no value at all. This is like 50% utility and 50%
Mm.
nostalgia. This is kind of like that VR emulator that allows you to go into your old bedroom and play your ROMs on a virtual TV, right? Uh, I forget what the name of this thing is, but you can like decorate your room, put up posters, make it like your room would have been back in the day.
Mm.
It's all about the nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the deal here. It's a good way to go and watch your favorite old movies with your friends, but at the same time, experience something that you haven't experienced for probably 20 years or more.
Absolutely. Lipnox VR wants to know if it's a concept or if the game actually exists. Has anyone seen real gameplay? Well, there's a real trailer that I'm not showing right now that should be showing. We should be able to tell you should be able to look at that and see. But you
My
can,
notes,
yeah, his
I
notes
didn't
has,
just I
go ahead.
didn't just write these notes out of thin air. Like I got this from a VR Focus article, so I'm pretty sure it's legit.
Yeah. Yeah. So just you can go check out the video on YouTube, and you're just not gonna be able to see it here because right now everything's smooth, bro. With me and you just here looking at a black screen, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. People are going to think we're never mind. Anyway, River Games focusing on the PSVR version first again and coming to Steam later. No release date confirmed at the moment. So be sure to click the button in the bell if you want to be notified of all of our future content. We're going to be following this one very closely. I think this is cool, Roots. I think if they price it right, and the fact that big screen has not yet come to PlayStation, I think that this thing could actually be pretty widely adopted.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Lipnox says I saw the trailer, but it didn't look like actual footage. I mean, just the fact that they don't have anything like big screen in PlayStation VR, and this might be a way you could actually watch. Then, I mean, I know Scion uses it all the time. I've gone and I've watched Survivor episodes just for the hell of it, right? Big screen is actually pretty cool. So having some kind of an option, especially you know for Hollywood to exist anymore, since nobody goes to the movies, if they can force feed it into your headset, they might actually stay afloat. Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah, sounds cool. Uh, obviously, and we're sitting here talking about it like it's a game, and I guess technically there are game-like aspects, but people aren't going to be buying this for the survival mode. People are going to buy it because it's a cool video player.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like a game because it really isn't a game. It's a video player. It's a multiplayer video player.
And let's be honest, you know, PC VR has got, I mean, obviously you've got a lot of advantages to PC VR versus PlayStation VR, and this is one of them. You didn't have a way to watch these movies or whatever it is in VR, and now you're going to be able to. So that's cool.
Yep, absolutely. Anyway, that wraps up this week's news and brings us into the week's reminders. We're going to kick it off with some releases. We've got some releases this week, Roots. New releases, and a pretty good week for PlayStation VR. First of all, Wins and Leaves from, I always wonder how to pronounce this uh, developer's name. Is it Trey Bouquet or Trey Bucket? I don't know. Trey, Bu-
I hope it's,
Trebuchet.
yeah,
Trebuchet.
yeah. I don't think it's Trade Bucket or whatever you said, but yeah.
It's spelled Trey Bucket.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Winds and Leaves definitely looks unique. Go check out the trailer. You saw a brief split second before I turned it off, and it looks pretty cool. Now, you said that's a PSVR exclusive, right?
That is indeed a PlayStation VR exclusive. I'm kind of surprised, Roots, because people are actually excited to play this one. It looks a little slow to me.
Well,
One of those environmental games where you're trying to, help the plant life to thrive and things like that. So
some people
I
love
don't
that
know.
type of game. I would never play a flat game like that, and some people would, so they would love it in VR. And to each their own. If that's what floats your boat, then I don't know what to tell you. Makes me question your soul.
Excuse me. Arc Smith coming this week from Bit Hell Games or Bythel. Bit Hell Games. Oculus Quest, July the 29th. So this is a story puzzler, kind of a unique type of puzzler where you craft items to solve problems, and these items are very modular. Apparently, there's quite a bit of variability in the way that you can attack these puzzles and these problem-solving sessions. Uh, interesting looking game, Arc Smith.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely looks pretty interesting.
Anyway, that's out as a Quest exclusive on the 29th. Also on the 29th, we get the long awaited full release of Vengeful Rights onto Steam VR. Uh, I was impressed, Roots, with the update list that we read down a week or two on our channel a week or two ago. Um, we're going to be playing this one, right?
Yeah, yeah. I want to know if Spry Guy's playing this. He's been waiting. He's one of those gonna wait for out of early access type of people, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can't fault him for that. When you see um, what this game is claiming to be as a finished product, I mean, I'm excited to check it out. But I'm waiting. I'm waiting until that update hits on the 29th. So we'll check it out then, and who knows, we might even stream this one.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, of course, already talked about Neon Hat. Coming exclusively to PlayStation VR from Intelto Studios, also on July the 29th. I think this game looks cool as well, Roots. I think this game is all going to be about the pricing on it. I think if they keep it around $15 to 20, I think they'll do all right, and I think it'll be worth it. I think if they get up past $20, then it might be a bit of a big ask.
$59.95.
Right.
Can you imagine? Be like, dude, what are you crazy?
Wolveraza thinks that it's trebuchet. Yeah,
Oh,
I know that, man. well, I don't know it. I assume that's what it looks. It looks French, right? So obviously, that's the likely pronunciation. But who knows? Maybe they're tray bucket.
Spry Guy says he's got a lot of games he wants to try, but in early access, so we won't buy. So did you pick up the golfing game, Spry Guy? I know you were waiting for that to come to Steam. The miniature golf. What was the name of them? I always forget that game name.
Walkabout.
Yeah, Walkabout Mini Golf.
I don't know, but that's another one I have yet to get in and try.
That's good.
That's what they say.
Yep.
Anyway, that's going to wrap up this week's releases. Again, Winds and Leaves and Neon Hat coming to PlayStation VR. Arcsmith coming to Quest. Vengeful Rights coming in the full release on Steam VR. Little something for everybody this week, Roots.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's likely going to be another release that I'm not 100% sure about, but probably going to be better. Well, at least as good as anything on this list. And we'll see if it comes out this week. We'll have a video up for it fairly quickly.
Cool. Exciting.
Yeah. We should be excited. It's going to be awesome. All right. Anyway, that brings us into our next reminder, which is the wish list. This is the part of the show where we ask all of you to please join us right now in real time as we do our part to support these developers by taking the moment to just wish list one of these awesome games that we've been talking about today. And as is usually the case, tons of good stuff to choose from today, Roots.
Too many good things. A lot of good stuff, right?
Yeah, Outlier. Outlier wins hands down. I don't even have to think about it this week. Outlier is the winner of my wish list.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because I already owned Larcenauts. Stride, I've got it on there already. But Outlier definitely is. My question to you, Wes, is what is Joyway going to announce next week? They got
That's
to
the
have
question, isn't
one more game out there. Come on, Joyway, stop being so lazy, bro. We need a couple
it?
more out there. It's crazy, dude. They're just working like crazy.
Well, if they're going to hold true to their form, we'll get an Outlier demo in 2 weeks. We'll see it up on PD's and Gamertag's channel this week. Next week, we'll all get the demo. And then 2 weeks after that, they'll announce their next game.
Well, as long as all the games are good, I don't care. You can keep pumping them out all you want, bro, because they keep getting better each one.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the way it looks, doesn't it?
Yeah. Technoglitch says he unwished after the fall. He said, screw that game. Well, that's part of the wish list. You unwish list something, let us know. Let us know in the comments. Which game did you take off and why? Technoglitch is done waiting. He's not playing that game. He's done with it. Maybe.
I bet he changes his tune when it comes out.
Well, if everybody's raving about it,
I'm
I,
gonna go unwish list Superhot. Now I don't
yes.
feel so bad telling people not to buy it.
Yeah, the people need to stop caving to that kind of stuff, man. Like it just makes things worse, right?
Again, if they had a genuine if they genuinely believe what they're saying, then my apologies. But I don't buy it. I don't think that's the case here at all. I think that they make a lot of money on Super Hot, and they're trying to protect their interest like most business people do.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're just trying to be careful, but it just sucks. Sucks that we're living in this world, West, because my biggest fear, that's not my biggest fear, but it is like, what is this going to do to comedy, man? Like, at some point, like, it's already kind of screwed. Comedians aren't really allowed to be funny anymore. And it's kind of sad because if you look back to like some of the Eddie Murphy, the Dave Chappelle, some of the funniest comedy, it's so like if somebody said those same things today, people would be like I can't believe you said that. It's weird.
Yeah. PD in the chat says, I'm surprised that we haven't tried and or have raved about Dead Space yet. Like I've seen it. It's been on my radar. People have been talking about it lately. Um,
Is it a mod?
too many. Yeah. There's a Dead Space one.
I haven't tried it. I didn't. There is so many things on my radar, and I can't even produce
That's the thing.
a stream. I can't even show a video of fucking Arcsmith or Winds and Leaves. You know what I mean? So I'm in a weird spot, Wes, for another week.
Yeah. Yeah. It's certainly on the list, but so many other games are as well. It's hard. I wish I could do this full time. Like, I hope that's the dream, right? That one day that enough people will care about our show and want to support us that we can quit our day jobs and just play VR all day long, and then we won't have to miss games like Dead Space. But in the meantime, we got to be a little bit picky, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have all the time on my hands, and Returnal's taking so much of my time. Uh, mhm.
You'll find time for that one, right?
Yeah, well, I'm kind of like Onakazi, I mean, even if I'm like listening to a podcast or something, I'll throw it up on my other TV and I'll sit there and I'll play um, while I'm
That's
playing.
right.
I don't
It's
need
not
to.
like playing. It's not like playing VR. You can do it while you do other things.
Yeah, that's why that's why I think there's always a place for flat gaming. You just chill, sit back, and then when you want to really be immersed, you put the headset on and you go to the next level. Sometimes you don't always want to be at the next level. So
Anyway, Outlier, again, my wish list. Let us know what you wish listed in the comments down below.
yep.
And with that, that brings us to our final set of reminders this week and every week, and that is how you can help support us and help our channel to grow. Of course, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, you can click that big red button to subscribe as well as the bell to stay up to date with all of our content, our ever expanding uh, weekly content routes. I feel like we're growing into the role quite well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Your notes are growing into the. It's like every time I look at the notes from Wes has, it's like not only is it they're amazing for the patrons. You get all these notes. He's got tons of links and everything, but it makes my job so much easier when I'm doing the scenes. I just go up, click, copy, paste. You know what I mean? It makes it a lot easier than trying to search a bunch of stuff. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, I've been trying to put a little bit more into the notes, and make them as best uh, that I can for the patrons. You said it. These people, they give their hard-earned money to help us grow. They buy us things like capture cards and fancy new graphics that we're going to be rolling out on the channel soon. Um, so when I comes time for me to do the show notes, uh, I put a little extra into it, stuff that we don't even need. Like at the end of it, there's a list of trailers this week and videos that are what we might have used a third of them in the show at most.
Yeah,
Like the rest of them,
You got me. I downloaded them and then I was like, why do I need a trailer for this? It's an article because I just downloaded them all, but they're there.
oh, I didn't. I didn't. I was just putting that stuff on there for reference for
Well, it's good. It's always good to have these people.
Patreon.
I collect trailers, bro. Like I got a folder that has so many trailers, and the more trailers I have, not only do I feel successful, no, I don't feel successful, but it makes it easier when I go to make the scenes because I already have the trailer downloaded. I don't have to download it, so it's actually a good thing.
Yeah. So I mean, there's close to 15 different videos on there. I've got Into the Radius developer interview talking about their roadmap. There's all kinds of cool stuff. I make it like a newsletter because again, I appreciate the support. And we need to find a way again to get everybody in on this. Everybody who supports, we make just as much in tips on YouTube as we do on Patreon. I feel like we need to do something for these people as well.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, that this can take more on our end, but maybe we can figure out a channel for the Discord for
Yeah,
anybody that gives any amount of money, and you have access to all that stuff or whatever. So
absolutely. Anyway, I guess that is a good lead into our next reminder. Of course, if you've already subscribed, if you're already watching all the content, if you're already sharing on social media, and you want to do something, you want to go to the next level, you can support us on Patreon. $3 per month gets you access to our weekly show notes, which again is not only the Sunday show notes, but free stuff and killer deals as well. uh, $3 per month, weekly show notes, exclusive content, insider updates. We try to make it worth your $3, and it's getting better all the time.
yeah, and you're helping the show out. You're helping us stay on air, and create the content. But it's not always about the money. The clicks, the likes, the views, the fact you're here listening to us. We appreciate it.
The friendships roots, that's what it's about. It's always been about the community with us. And if you want to really cement your place in our community, there's an invitation in the description below to our Discord. This is where we live. This is where we stay. It's where we're at all day long, talking to one another about VR, talking to one another about life. Uh, it's the best way. It's the best way to stay up to date, not only with everything going on in VR, but with all of these awesome people in our community. So, again, the Virtual Strangers Discord invitation in the description down below. Join us.
Yep, absolutely.
Anyway, I think that's about it. So, with that said, friends, I'd like to thank you all once again for watching. For Roots, I'm Wes. We'll see you sometime soon.
Yep, stay easy.
Bye now.